racist pig. All right? But he even knew. He said, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to rip the country apart. Because he believed in the system. He believed in the democratic process, and I'm sure it hurt him just as much as it did Trump or anyone else to lose. It sucks to lose. It's terrible. If you really care about, you put your heart and your soul out there. I don't care if you're DeSantis to Rand Paul to Bernie Sanders, whatever your viewpoint is, you're busting your ass out there, especially running for president. You have no time off. Every day, campaigning here, campaigning there, learning the customs of this area, learning what the food groups are that they like in Philadelphia. What do they like? You have to know that kind of stuff or learn that kind of stuff.
Right.
And you're flying over here, flying over there. No time for your family, and then you lose. And it's probably worse when you're a president and you lose. Because not only do you have the fact that you busted your ass while you're president.
See, we have
double obligation.
Jim and I have a lot of disagreements on politics. I'm apolitical, but I'm still more conservative, where you're way more liberal. But I respect your opinion because I know that you're not coming from it, because of some, weird societal emotion.
No.
You have real reasons for it.
The left-wing obsession with that man, it's sick.
It is.
You look at the news, you think he's president now. Ignore him.
Right.
He's irrelevant.
Well, not to them, he's not.
He's irrelevant. And they can't do it. They just can't do it. Because he's such a car wreck. And don't get car wrecks wrong. Car wrecks are very interesting. That's what all radio is. If you're the biggest car wreck you can, people can't help but listen. That's why people like Howard Stern got so rich, is because he was so outrageous. People couldn't turn away from it. So Trump is outrageous. I have no problem with that. People who say people don't like him tweeting, they're fucking idiots. What do you mean you don't like him tweeting? I love that. You think Biden's tweeting? Biden doesn't even know where his phone is or what Twitter is, or probably what the internet is, or probably who he is. But I like him tweeting.
So what you're saying, it's a realism issue with you.
The election. It's over. You lost. They went to 66 federal courts. 66. Reagan appointees, Bush appointees, some Clinton and some Obama, but most of them have been Reagan and Bush appointees. They said there's nothing here. There's no evidence of election fraud. None.
Well, I got to say this.
There was.
Jim calls me. You call me one day and you're like, "Hey, I'm running." And I was like, "Good for you. Everybody needs exercise." And you're like, "No, I'm running, and I'm going to try to get a seat here in Indiana." And I was like, "Cool." I started thinking about it. I was like, he's a little liberal on the social issues, but I think he'll be okay. And then you tell me, hey, I'm thinking you're running as a Republican. And then you tell me, well, I'm going to run as a Democrat. And me and you have this long conversation about why. And a lot of the things that you said made sense to me. Not that I agreed with them, but I can understand how somebody will come up with that idea. And there's a lot of things that you say that you take out of the polarized context of Democrat-Republican, and you put it in real life terms. I would like for you to just say, what do you think about student debt? That's a good place to start. What do you think about it?
What?
Student debt.
Student debt. All right, student debt. We ought to say any college that has higher tuition, if it increases more than the rate of inflation, and hey, inflation's pretty high right now, they can increase it 9% now. Isn't that great? But student loans or student tuition has gone up, the cost of college, 587% in the last 10 to 15 years. Why? You know why? Because the government will write any check.
That's a fact.
You can get a student loan. I can get a student loan right now if I wanted to. Guaranteed. And when you get your student loan, you cannot get rid of it in bankruptcy. You can't do it. You can declare bankruptcy, and unless you're on your deathbed, which it really doesn't matter then, because when you die, it gets erased, you can't get rid of it. Now, I can go and I can borrow money to buy a house or a car or a business loan or credit cards or literally anything else, and I can erase it all. The bank can buy me a house. I can buy a house with the bank's money, declare bankruptcy, and in most states, depending on if you have a good lawyer or not, keep the house. Thank you, bank. Credit will be shot to shit, but I got a house now. There you have an actual asset that you're being able to acquire. You would think that would be loan that you couldn't get rid of. You have a house. Give up the house if you want to give up the loan.
So what do you think about student debt forgiveness?
Student debt. So the forgiveness stuff, I don't support that unless we make changes. And the changes are student loans every year, starting, let's say, next year, 10% of your student loans can be declared void by bankruptcy. And every year is another 10%. So in 10 years, you'll have 100%. If you want to declare bankruptcy, you can wipe out all your student loans. And what that will do is, not everyone's going to declare bankruptcy, but what it will do is it will put the economic market controls back on issuing of the loans. Banks won't issue loans anymore necessarily.
Right.
And they'll do it gradually. They'll say, oh, well, 10%. Now they have a risk. Right now, you can only get so much in federal loans. The rest you have to get from private entities like Chase Bank and other banks. Suddenly, right now, they can issue whatever they want, and you can't get rid of it. You can never get rid of it off your credit report. You can't discharge them in bankruptcy. Once you start able to do that,
then
the banks
once
have
they have
economic
risk,
incentive.
right?
Yeah, if there's risk, yeah.
So that's not really political. That's just common sense.
No, and people who say, well, people go to college, and it's an okay argument. They go to college, they knew what they were getting into, and they ought to suffer through it. Okay, fine. But don't complain to me when people aren't having kids, people aren't buying houses, people aren't starting families. Don't complain to me about that. Because I went to college to be a lawyer. I'm like $198,000 in student debt.
Wow.
Now, I was lucky enough, I guess, to be born on a toxic dump site, so I was able to get most of that paid off. But I have to be tragically injured and almost die when I'm born in order to be able to afford my education and not be massively in debt.
And it's broken.
We would have.
The system is broken. I mean, the education system is broken. I know I'm going through it personally. I understand the young people in the country today.
Another thing.
Yeah.
Why do we charge compound interest? You want people to pay back their loans. Okay, but we can start there. I charge up $80,000 in student loans or whatever. I should have to pay back $80,000. But no, the government charges you interest on that $80,000. And then if you don't pay your monthly payment or you're deferring it, your interest is added on to that, and interest on top of that is charged to you.
Right.
So, we have to start looking at education the way the Asian nations do. They fight, families, fierce competition to get their kids in the best schools. It's not, whatever Xing Shou wants to do, it's his obligation. No, it's a societal benefit. They recognize that educating our citizens as best we can is a value to society, not just the person who gets the education, but someone has an education, they can contribute to society. Now, just because you don't have an education from college does not mean you can't contribute to society. I can't do shit when it comes to plumbing, or I can put up a picture on a wall. That's about as much as mechanical ability I have.
Right.
I'm not an electrician, but we want people to go into medicine, and probably not lawyering. I don't know that we have all that much contribution to society.
Well, let me ask you this.
People.
Let's go to the other side of this. From a conservative point of view like mine, I get very angry that we have these activist teachers in the college level, especially these, super teachers, at least they think they are, these professors that are very, very woke, and they're very, very political. And it kind of makes me angry that my money is being sent to them to pay for their salaries. What do you think about that from your point of view?
But your money is how many professors do they uncover, every year?
A lot.
I mean, honestly.
I would say a lot compared to how many there are.
Okay. Maybe once per week, you hear about a new professor. You accept that?
I would agree with that.